Cassie told the jury that the freak-offs made her feel disgusting and humiliated.
She did say these freak-offs lasted between 1 and 4 days, and it would take her an equal amount of time to get her body recovered, to rehydrate, to rest.
This story is not just about a celebrity scandal. It's about power, control, trauma, and the disturbing truth hidden behind fame and fortune. Cassie Ventura, the pop singer many remember from her hit single Me and You, has taken the stand in a federal case that's pulling back the curtain on shocking abuse, sex trafficking, and allegations that span years. And at the center of it all was his music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Cassie was just 19 when she met Diddy, who was nearly twice her age. What began as a mentorship and romantic relationship allegedly morphed into a cycle.
2 witnesses were called today, including a
forcing Cassie to stay with him.
Former security officer at the hotel, where Diddy is seen on video attacking Ventura brutally. You remember that video back in 2016. The prosecutors played the video. The witness testified that Diddy tried to pay him off with a giant wad of cash. The day's second witness was a male escort. This is where it really got very juicy, who says that he was paid by Diddy numerous times to have sex with Cassie while Diddy sat there in the corner, masturbating and watched. He says he once saw Diddy throw a liquor bottle at Cassie and heard him beating her in another room.
Testimonies reveal that behind closed doors, Diddy forced Cassie to take drugs, perform in multi-day sex sessions, referred to as freak-offs, and endure emotional, physical, and psychological abuse. What's even more chilling? Prosecutors claim Diddy didn't act alone. Cassie testified that she was forced to participate in freak-offs, days-long drug-fueled sex events where Diddy would watch while she engaged with multiple male escorts.
Emily Johnson actually said that Cassie did choke on the urine of an escort when Diddy forced this escort to allegedly urinate in her mouth. They did say inner circle numerous times, I believe, really trying to amplify the RICO charges. Diddy couldn't have done all of these crimes without his inner circle, right? Without his bodyguard, without his driver, without his assistant. They talked about alleged kidnappings. That one time he kidnapped his assistant to go and try to find Cassie when he thought Cassie was cheating. I mean, it was wild. I feel like I could go on forever, but I won't. At a certain point, wasn't able to perform for Diddy and Cassie. He got erectile dysfunction because of what he saw. He said he saw Diddy at one point after an encounter, drag Cassie by the hair from her computer seat all the way back to her bedroom while she was kicking and screaming and crying. And after she apologized and came out, he said that Diddy said, okay, you guys want to continue? And he couldn't perform. And that was it. From there, he could not perform after that. And he saw Diddy abuse Cassie 2 or 3 more times after that as well. And this is a muscular guy. He was 41 years old, a bit smaller, but again, he seemed incredibly affected by what he saw.
And was there, just quickly, Lauren, was there a point where he talked about, because I was trying to follow the blogs, again, it's hard, you were in there, it's difficult for us on the outside. Did he talk about Cassie at one point being under the influence of drugs to the point that she was slumped over, and Diddy still wanted him to have sex with her?
These sessions lasted 36 to 72 hours. Cassie described hotel rooms covered in baby oil, blood, and urine. Afterward, she required IV fluids to rehydrate, just to function again. Even worse, she claimed she was often drugged without her knowledge, sometimes by ecstasy slipped into her drinks. Cassie said she felt humiliated, disgusting, and worthless, but couldn't say no, fearing Diddy's retaliation and blackmail. One of the key pieces of evidence is the now infamous 2016 hotel surveillance video.
Old sex acts with male escorts while he watched, sometimes sitting in the corner and masturbating. Through tears, she said she took drugs to numb herself, ecstasy, cocaine, and ketamine, all of it allegedly supplied by Diddy. She said the freak-offs included as many as 4 male escorts at once and typically lasted 36 to 72 hours. The longest, she said, the longest freak-off that she says she was forced to perform in lasted 4 days. She said they took place around the world, from New York to Miami to Spain to even Turks and Caicos. And at every stop, Cassie said the hotel rooms were stocked by Diddy's staff with baby oil, condoms, and drugs. And she says that these hotel rooms, this is disgusting, the hotel rooms were left covered in baby oil and covered in blood and covered in urine. Cassie told the jury that the freak-offs made her feel disgusting and humiliated and worthless. But she said she couldn't say no because she says Diddy threatened to release videos of the freak-offs with her.
Just before they broke for lunch, Cassie Ventura described how freak-offs actually became a job, lasting 36 to 48 hours, the longest one lasting up to 4 days. No wonder the participants needed IV fluids after a freak-off. I'm just curious, to Lauren Cullen joining us at the courthouse, how was the jury responding?
What I will say is Cassie made a point to say that when she wasn't making music, she was actually having to, quote, recover from these freak-offs. And again, she did say these freak-offs lasted between 1 and 4 days, and it would take her an equal amount of time to get her body recovered, to rehydrate, to rest, to detox from these drugs. It was really, really sad to listen to.
Former hotel security guard testified that he witnessed Cassie with a bruised face and a black eye. Diddy allegedly tried to bribe him with a wad of cash to stay silent. This wasn't a one-off. Prosecutors say Diddy consistently used violence to control Cassie, throwing bottles at her, pulling her by her hair, and even allegedly kidnapping her when she tried to escape. One of the key pieces of evidence is the now infamous 2016 hotel surveillance video.
Said on the stand, at one point she said that a male escort had urinated in her mouth and she actually choked on it. And it was at that point someone in the courtroom actually had to walk out of the door there while, Diddy sat at the defense table listening on here. But as she was describing these events where she said that, there were multiple male escorts that were happening at one time, these freak-offs would happen for 2, 3, the longest 4 days at a time. And control is the word we need to talk about. That is what prosecutors really laid out. And you heard Cassie describe how every action during these freak-offs, which were between her and male escorts, not necessarily between her and her boyfriend, Sean Diddy Combs, he sat off to the side really directing things according to her and along with what he wanted to see. But he was in control, she said, of exactly how they did everything, from the platform shoes that she needed to wear, the clothes that she needed to wear occasionally, masks, wigs, whether or not the male escort could ejaculate, where he could ejaculate. Everything, she said, was controlled by him. Mind you, Brian, his children, 6 children, are in the courtroom at this point listening to all of this. And the jury was picked knowing that they needed a certain level of comfort to hear these types of descriptions. It was very emotional and really tough to hear, Brian.
Showing Diddy violently dragging and assaulting Cassie. A former hotel security guard testified that he witnessed Cassie with a bruised face and a black eye. Diddy allegedly tried to bribe him with a wad of cash to stay silent. This wasn't a one-off. Prosecutors say Diddy consistently used violence to control Cassie.
Once he saw Diddy beat Cassie, he could no longer, perform and be engaged, because before he said even if they hadn't paid him, he was excited to be part of their world. He was enjoying that kind of activity with them. And then things started changing when he saw one time he was on the couch, Cassie was at her computer, and Diddy, he said, was in Cassie's bedroom. Now, Diddy apparently called out to Cassie to come into the bedroom, and she allegedly told him, just hold on a second, my personal information's on the computer. Now, Daniel describes being absolutely shocked when all of a sudden a liquor bottle, Diddy throws it from across the room right toward Cassie, and then he comes running towards her, grabs her by her hair, drags her into her bedroom and tells her, when I tell you to come, you don't wait, you just come when I tell you. And he says he then heard, after the doors closed, Diddy slapping her, beating her, yelling at her, and Cassie screaming out, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And he says he was just kind of frozen in place. He didn't know what to do. And prosecutors asked him, why didn't you intervene? Why didn't you go inside? And he said, look, I know this is somebody with a lot of resources. Quite frankly, I was afraid for my life. Now, that drew a lot of objections from the defense, but the judge allowed that testimony. And he again reiterated that he was scared in that moment for Cassie, feeling like she was in a dangerous situation, but he didn't feel it was safe enough for him to intervene.
We thought what we saw in that awful video from the Intercontinental was bad, but to hear the actual graphic details of what Cassie and others endured day after day for years is just completely heartbreaking. And to hear the sex worker actually try to offer her aid when, you know, she was being beaten, and literally she went to him for solace, as opposed to the person who supposedly loves and cares about her. She had to jump into the arms of a sex worker, and he was literally like, this is not okay. You need to leave this relationship. And she did, unfortunately, what so many survivors do, which is, I'm okay, it's gonna be okay, basically, I can handle this. And the reality is, she really needed to get out because she was being violated and degraded in so many different ways. And my heart just breaks for her so much.
Melba, you're so right. Ours do as well. What's it going to be like today when she is perhaps called? We think that she's going to be witness number 3. We have a clip where we caught up with her lawyer outside of the courthouse on Monday. Let's take a quick look.
How is Cassie? Is she emotional? Is she like feeling okay with this? Is she nervous?
She's ready.
She is ready. She's also pregnant, God bless her, and visibly pregnant too. So in the later stages of her pregnancy.
Throwing bottles at her, pulling her by her hair, and even allegedly kidnapping her when she tried to escape. Cassie named several individuals in Diddy's circle who allegedly enabled and covered up the abuse, including his assistant Christina Korm and security personnel. One ex-employee testified that Diddy instructed them to stock hotel rooms with condoms, drugs, and props for these encounters. Others were allegedly paid to track Cassie's location and isolate her when she tried to leave.
The first testimony in the trial taking jurors to Los Angeles, March 2016, in the hotel where that surveillance video was taken. The first witness, an LAPD officer who worked security at the hotel, he says he responded to a call for a woman in distress on the 6th floor.
When he got to the floor, he noticed that there was glass on the floor, that the vase and the flowers were broken.
The security guard described going back to Diddy's hotel room and standing in the doorway while Ventura grabbed her things. Inside, another man sitting at the corner of the bed.
So from the very start, the first witness brings the jury into that hallway where he said Sean Combs looked at him with a devilish stare and Cassie Ventura had a purple eye.
Sean Combs tried to offer him money, to give him money to make this go away, and he said he wouldn't accept the money.
The second witness to take the stand, Daniel Phillip, a man who said he was paid to have sex with Cassie on multiple occasions at several high-end New York City hotels, while Diddy watched. The witness said he was paid between $700 and $6,000 each time.
So Mr. Phillip agreed to go to the Gramercy Hotel to do a performance for a bachelorette party. At least that's what he thought. But when he got to the hotel, to the room, that Cassie opened up the door. He did not know that was Cassie, and that she told him, well, it's my birthday and my husband wants to do something special, so can you give me a massage?
Prosecutors are now emphasizing RICO charges, arguing that Diddy ran a criminal operation with the help of his team. Multiple women have been listed as victims in the case. Some have come forward, others have gone missing or dropped out in fear. One juror even requested to be removed due to the disturbing nature of the evidence and emotional toll. Prosecutors claim Diddy used his wealth and influence to silence accusers, cover up incidents, and even move women across state lines for prostitution, a serious federal crime. Cassie, now heavily pregnant with her third child, returned to court with unwavering strength to testify against Diddy, bringing even seasoned courtroom reporters to tears. These aren't just celebrity headlines. They're real stories of pain, trauma, and the abuse of power. The court has decided the public will not see some of the most graphic video evidence due to the risk of re-victimization. But what's been revealed so far is already deeply disturbing. Diddy continues to deny all charges and maintains his innocence. As the trial unfolds, one thing is clear. This is no longer just about Diddy. It's about accountability at the highest levels of fame and influence. If this story moved you, share it, comment below, and subscribe for continuing updates. We'll be following every court hearing, every testimony, and every piece of evidence that comes to light.